Chapter 2. From hunting, gathering to growing food. Evolution of man. Homo erectus, which means upright man in Latin, originated in Africa and evolved into modern humans. They had the ability to stand on their feet and walk straight. Eventually, their jaws became smaller and the brain size increased. They developed hand and finger grip to hold objects. The Stone Age. The beginning of the Stone Age was about 2.6 million years ago. This was a period in which early humans used primitive stone tools. Stones were mainly used during this period, that is why this age is called the Stone Age. The Stone Age ended around 5,000 years ago when early humans in Near East began making tools and weapons from bronze. Sites. Sites are places where remains of tools, weapons and buildings are found. Most of the sites where early humans lived were near river banks and where stones could be easily found. These were sites where early humans worked. So, they are called factory sites. Some sites have been found where early humans worked and lived. These were called habitation cum factory sites. 3 periods of the Stone Age. Archaeologists have given elaborate names for the period we are studying. The Paleolithic Age is the earliest period. This word comes from 2 Greek words, paleo, meaning old, and lithos, meaning stone. This period extends from 2 million years ago to about 12,000 years ago. The Paleolithic Age is divided into Lower, Middle, and Upper Paleolithic. 99% of human history is of the Paleolithic Age. The Mesolithic, Middle Stone, period is the period of environmental changes beginning about 12,000 years ago till about 10,000 years ago. Tiny stone tools were found during this period and were called microliths. Saws and sickles were made by sticking microliths onto handles of bone or wood. At the same time, older varieties of tools continued to be in use. The Neolithic Age started about 10,000 years ago. Discovery of fire. The most important discovery of the Paleolithic Age was fire. Early humans accidentally discovered fire while rubbing 2 pieces of stones against each other. Similarly, they learned cooking, probably because a piece of raw meat must have dropped into the fire. When they must have it in it, it might have tasted good. Evidences of fire use are found in the traces of ash found near the Kurnool caves in India. Paleolithic art. Early humans painted on walls of caves or on rocks in their free time. These paintings mostly portray animal figures and hunting scenes. Some paintings show men and women. Most of the cave paintings were of animals such as wild horses, bisons, woolly rhinoceros, reindeer and bear. These paintings have bright color made from minerals like ochre or iron ore and charcoal. The best examples of paintings are from Madhya Pradesh and southern Uttar Pradesh. In India, several paintings have been discovered in the Bhimbetka caves in Madhya Pradesh. These caves are now listed as UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Neolithic Age. The Neolithic Age was the last part of the Stone Age. This period saw the cultivation of wild and domestic crops and the use of domesticated animals. This was the period when early humans transformed from hunters and gatherers to herders and farmers. The early humans became food producers from gatherers. They started using polished stone tools, cultivated plants, domesticated animals, and began to live a settled life. They formed small settlements mostly near river banks and natural water resources. Climate change and the beginning of farming and herding. Gradually, as the climate became warm, it led to an increase in plants, trees, and grasslands. Animals which lived on grass like deer, antelope, goat. Early humans were still hunter-gatherers, so as grasslands increased, they observed the places where edible plants could be found. Eventually, early humans started planting seeds which they wanted and growing their own food. This was the beginning of farming. Early humans started allowing animals that were not wild to come and stay near them like sheep, goat, etc., because these animals would provide milk, meat, and some would even carry load. Settled life. As people started growing plants, it meant that they had to stay in a particular place for a longer period to look after the plants, watering, weeding, driving away animals and birds till the grain ripened. People had to find out new ways of storing the grains. In many areas, they began making large clay pots or wove baskets, or dug pits into the ground. Farming and herding. Animals provide milk, which is an important source of food, and meat, whenever required. In other words, animals that are reared can be used as a store of food. Each marks a site from where archaeologists have found evidence of early farmers and herders. Scientists could identify these grains and the number of crops grown in different parts of the subcontinent. They can also identify the bones of different animals. Stone tools have been found from many sites as well. Many of these are different from the earlier Paleolithic tools, and that is why they are called Neolithic. These include tools that were polished to give a fine cutting edge, mortars and pestles used for grinding grain and other plant produce. Burial site. People look after them, perhaps in the belief that there is some form of life after death. Burial is one such arrangement. Several burial sites have been found at Mehergarh.